Good afternoon, VV Nation. Welcome, midday market action. My name is Ryan. Always a pleasure, where did I put, oh, there it is. Just trying to see where I put the comments section. All right, the alert should be hitting any minute here, so give everyone just a moment to make their way into the room. I see some enthusiasm in the market here. We got the Dow Jones up 62. The NASDAQ was, I like the gap up, but it hit a level of resistance I saw was pretty clear. ABB says bull or bear. Tabula says, is it safe to get back into the shark-infested waters? No voice? Can you not hear me?
Your mic's on.
Yeah, my mic's on. Okay. Steed says, good morning. Steed, are you tuning in from Jamaica? I'm just curious if you're tuning in from Jamaica. I saw you put the Jamaican flag out there. Mark, all right, Brooklyn in the house. What's up, Mark? Bill, what's going on, Bill? I bought your can this morning, Nancy says. Nice. I like that dip on Data Vault on Friday. I know some of you might have bought that stock. Got close to $2 today. We'll take a look at it. Palantir rebounding. We're going to take a look at Palantir as well. I did put a video out Friday. Really just basic market analysis. I know there was two very popular trades. Obviously, the Palantir showing some signs of weakness in that ascending channel. And on top of that, UAMY. It hit right at my target, which was just over $8 in the stock, feeling the pressure shortly after that. But just looking at the market here, again, a lot of that enthusiasm was in the gap up. I traded the Qs this morning because I saw a level of resistance here. So I played that a little bit. So a little $300 I started with last week. I'm at $975, I believe it was. I have to check my Webull account. I'm just shy of $1,000 here. All right, just check my phone. The alert looks like it just hit. All right, so everyone's making the way into the room here. All right, there's the viewers here. Now, I'm just gonna get right to the point here. It is Monday. I know a lot of you want to, bottom fish. You're seeing the market, a little enthusiasm. You feel like you may have missed out last Thursday or Friday. Well, there are some things in the charts I want to show you, but I know that you want me to cover your stock. So today, I'm going to do something different. Instead of 10 likes for each stock, if you can get me 90 likes sooner than later, I'll do all the stock picks you want. Unlimited stock picks, for at least until 1 o'clock. I know Joey just got back from vacation. He's like, we ain't running the stream all day, Ryan. But if you hit 90 likes, and the sooner you do it, the sooner we're going to start getting in your stocks, right? I know, I see the viewers, so we can easily get to 90 likes with as many people watching. Linda, look at that. It says 100 likes, 100 likes. All right, so we got, 95 the likes. I see them climbing. All right, so let me cover what I got to cover, and hopefully we'll get to 90 sooner than later. And that way we can get to your stocks. All right, so that being said, Joey, bring us to the regular screen. All right, let me jump over to some news stories real quick. Oh, man, I didn't realize I had so many windows open. It's got to be one of these. Joey's seeing this on my other screen. All right, there we go. Found the window here. This week, it's Monday. I always cover, especially with earnings season, we're going to cover what's going on with earnings this week here, as well as the market calendar, economic calendar here. There's a lot of gold stocks, a lot of gold, a lot of AI software. We can see here, look, Barrick Mining Corporation right at the top of the list here on Monday. That was pre-market. After the bell today, though, we've got some popular names. CoreWeave, Oxy, Occidental. I know it's a popular stock. Many of you probably don't hold it. But Rocket Lab, AST Space Mobile. There are some other big ones here. Tuesday, we've got Alcon, Anglo Gold. Gold's big this week. We've got Oklo here as well. Come Wednesday, Cisco, New Holdings. Thursday, some of the top players here are going to be Disney and AMAT. So again, last week with the majority of the Mag 7 reporting, that was going to be the big week. Next week, we've got NVIDIA. NVIDIA's earnings next week. So I would not be surprised if the semiconductors, the tech, the NASDAQ 100, the Qs, things of that nature. You see a little rally, right? I'm not quite convinced of it quite yet. Yes, NBIS is tomorrow, Bill. I put that in the list too. I did put that in the list. All right, now as far as economic data this week, pretty quiet. Today, nothing. Tomorrow's Veterans Day. And just a heads up, bond market is closed. Stock market is open tomorrow for Veterans Day. Banks are closed, though. Banks are closed. Wednesday, it's a lot of Fed speaking. Thursday, initial jobless claims, but this is what you need to look out for. CPI data, inflation data coming out Thursday. In the last report, it ticked up once again, 3%, right? It ticked up 3%. So we're going to take a look at the market timing graph, and we're going to take a look at the chart of CPI. I'm afraid of NVIDIA's earnings. I'm not afraid of NVIDIA's earnings. Yeah, CrowdStrike has earnings on the 25th. CrowdStrike? Oh, CrowdStrike. Sorry, duh. I got CoreWeave and CrowdStrike mixed up. Sorry about that, Pennywise. Interesting, though. Might have to cover that. Wednesday, NVIDIA's earnings. I think it's next Wednesday. Joey, what you got going on Wednesday? You think we should do a live stream for NVIDIA's earnings?
We can do it.
Let me just check the schedule.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it in the meeting today. We have our planning meeting this afternoon. But hey, how about this? If you guys want to do NVIDIA earnings live stream, type in NVDA in the comment section. Let's just see if there's. Oh, yeah, we'll do a poll. Do a poll, Joey says. Joey's going to put out a poll. Here. But I think that would be a good one. Because let's be honest here. If there's anything that can get a Santa rally in motion, it's going to be NVIDIA. It's going to be NVIDIA, right? If anybody can get that Santa rally in motion, it should be NVIDIA's earnings. Kara says, yes, live stream it. There's a lot of NVIDIA comments there. But again, Joey's putting it, he's doing a poll here, so we'll give it just a moment. NVIDIA is 1119, isn't it? Well, we can check real quick. Let's all just check. I think it's next Wednesday. Yep, next Wednesday. That's what I feel. It's usually always on Wednesday. I don't know why that's the case, but it's always on Wednesday for some reason. Because we've done some live streams on it in the past. It's always been on Wednesday, shortly after AMA. Should we do the poll? Yes. All right, so there's the poll. 92% so far. 93% so far. We need Santa to come early this year. Hey, Santa might have came in early. After we get through these stories, we're going to take a look at some of the stock charts, look at the market from a more technical perspective, because that dip that people were buying Thursday, Friday, especially Friday, I saw the 3 red lights turn into the 3 yellow lights. That was a technical analysis dip, 40-day moving average on the Qs, and even the S&P. Today, the enthusiasm, it's the government shutdown, right? If you haven't heard already, it looks like, I think it was 8 Democratic senators have joined with Republicans. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out this evening if the government opens back up. That's one of the reasons why you saw the gap up this morning in the market. And don't forget about CPI data. Going forward, just got a couple news stories here. So again, I wanted to focus on your stock pick. Sorry. But this is Navitas, NVTS, a semiconductor. This is one that I've talked about. The gallium. Essentially, their semiconductor is about 40% more efficient. They've got a partnership with NVIDIA. This pivot here, you can see like it's reinventing itself as a leader in high power gallium nitride. You know me, I'm a semiconductor nerd. We're going to take a look at this stock because I see some bottom fishing opportunities there. We're going to take a look at Data Vaults. I know I think it was trending Thursday. Someone talked about Data Vault buying at $1.40. I said $1.20. I saw that open sub 120 on Friday. If you got in a Data Vault Friday, be careful. We're going to take a look at it. I see the pullback around $2 hit my target pretty quick, 2 days. That's all it took, right? So if you took some profits on Data Vault this morning, hey, I'm not going to be mad at it whatsoever here. But as far as Data Vault, a lot of the sell-off occurred before the market is because of the short report. But now, since that short report, they are suing. Let's see here. Well, other than the lease agreement, where was it here? There it is. Data Vault AI takes Wolfpack Research to court. So they will be going to court. This news broke out. Well, this article's 3 hours ago, but it broke out a couple days ago. They are taking them to court. In addition to that, Data Vault did sign a 5-year lease for the new headquarters in Philadelphia. So there's big news there. Otherwise, another stock looks like it's reporting. I didn't realize their earnings was this week, but I know a lot of you might be holding this, especially if you bought that UAMY pivot at around 650. I love selling on green days. Yeah, David, if you sell on green days, you're selling at a high, right? Gold and silver, they're back? Question mark. We'll take a look at gold and silver. I don't think gold and silver really went away. I think it might have just took a little breather. Not trying to hijack here, but thank you to all veterans and happy birthday to the U.S. Marine Corps. Kara, that is not a hijack by any means. And I do want to give a shout out to one of my favorite veterans out there and my former host. Well, he's always going to be my host and my co-host in my heart. And that is Glenn. So happy birthday to the Marine Corps. And I know, Glenn, a big hoorah to you, Glenn. Big hoorah to you as well. Hopefully he's having some fun today. And hopefully he's enjoying his week. I'll have to give him a shout. I actually did text him last week, but I didn't hear back. So hopefully he's doing okay. I'll reach out for him for Veterans Day for sure. But yeah, so UAMY, they've got earnings here. You can see it looks like it's post-market November 12th. So that's Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Wednesday. But you can see the growth trajectory here. Revenue estimates. This quarter last year's $4 million. Now $17 million, right? This is the pressure from the decoupling with China. And look at their earnings per share estimates. It was negative a penny, but now we're positive 3 cents, right? Earnings per share. You can see the ratings here on average, target price $11.17. These are targets, right? As far as a target in the long term, that's a fair target in my opinion, right? But as far as intrinsic value, what the stock is currently worth, we're going to get to that in just a moment in the VectorVest 7 software. Pennywise, Glenn, is he coming back? Pennywise, I do not have an update on whether he's coming back or not. There's probably a lot of factors that would determine that, but, I would be glad to have him, even if it's just, a special guest on the show. I know everyone else here would be glad to have him. But hopefully he does come back. Hopefully he does. But first and foremost, his health. His health is most important. Pennywise ruling off there may not happen. I'm not going to get into that comment here. All right, but yeah, UAMY. It's got earnings as well, so let's jump right into the VectorVest 7 software here. So we got a lot of earning stocks to cover, and let me look at the likes. 87 likes. We are 3 likes short from unlimited stock picks today. Well, at least until 1 p.m. So if you haven't hit the like button yet, I'm not going to make that announcement anymore. Don't be lazy. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. I forgot I separated this page. Shoot. Let me pull up this real quick. There we go. All right. Go back to the home page here. Let's go to graphs. I got a couple graphs I want to look at here. First one, we're going to take a look at market timing. Market timing here. You see, this is the VectorVest composites. We're tracking just shy of 10,000 stocks, giving us a better overall market representation here. I just liked it. Thank you, Roger. Look at it. Roger says 2 more. Yes. So, heads up to my swing traders here, right? I know I normally don't give you a whole lot of market timing, but I do love all of you. We are in a DEW down signal, right? So that means if you're a swing trader, it's going to be hard to be a bull right now, right? And if you are a bull, I would make sure to stay disciplined right now and don't be afraid to take some profits off the table. Let's jump into a 1-month chart here, right? See the DPO is a negative territory, price action below the 30-day weighted moving average, right? But look at it now. I do have a zone here. This was a support zone. We broke that on Friday, rallied right up to the top of the zone. But now we're just stuck in the zone, right? So we're not getting confirmation via the DEW signal as far as getting into the market. We're not even really getting that much follow through, right? I mean, other than the gap up, just because, essentially the government might reopen, there's no follow through. And then I'll show you, exactly how I made some money this morning. Let's see here, which could have made a little bit more money. But hey, that's what it is. So here's the Qs this morning. I think I was up 17% on my trade. It went from about $800, like I said, to like $970. But this is it, right? We broke out this morning. This was my target level. I did take it a little early on the target here. Actually, it should have been a little bit lower. But if I go to a 1-month chart, and this is what I always do as a day trader. So if you're a day trader, I always want to get my levels before the market opens, right? So if the open is here, right? Where is the open? So my natural first level of resistance to look for is going to be the high on this day. The high, 622.04, right? What's the high here? 622.04 on the dot. That's how you day trade, people, right? But then, if you ever watch my day trading video, I think it's titled Wolf of Wall Street. I forget the name of it. Does anybody remember what that one was called? But you always want to get your levels first, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter what news is in the market and stuff like that. I don't care about the government opening up. I care about my levels, right? Here at VectorVest, we focus on the chart. Focus on the chart. So this morning, because I knew I had a live stream, 6 p.m. video, I had to play to the way up this morning, right? But you could have seen the money would have been playing off the rejection. That's how I made the good money last week. 2 levels of rejection I played off. One on the Qs and one on AMD. But I knew the rejection, you could see, happened here, from 621. Trying to find a level of support here. But I'm not really seeing the conviction from that buy the dip Friday scenario. So if you did buy the dip Friday, just, stay disciplined. But I'm not seeing the follow through that I would like to see as of right now. But you could see where the price action went up. Clear rejection from that resistance. You can see we're trying to stay in the support zone. If you're a trader, if you're looking for real confirmation, especially in the NASDAQ 100 here, I'd like to see price action close higher, closer to 622. But if we get a close below 618, I would be bearish on the Qs. But again, with the government reopening, we could get another gap up tomorrow. But just looking from the charts here, I'm looking more. I want to be optimistic, but I'm just not getting the follow through that I'd like, right? Just not getting the follow through. And honestly, if I use a freehand line, you see this little pivot here, actually probably this little pivot here, probably where we got our rejection. Nope, it was this little pivot. I had a feeling. Okay, yeah, it was this first pivot. So there's a rejection. So keep your eye on it right now. But if we can't get above 619 here in the near future, we might get further rejection here. All right, now let's take a look at the market climate graph because we've got CPI data coming out later this week here. And this is a graph of CPI. You can see over your last 3 years here. You can see the channel. I've talked about this. Broke out to the downside of the channel. We were close. We did get I almost treat it like a level of support here. We bounced off. This is what I'm afraid of. I don't want CPI to get back in this channel above 3. We want to see another rejection here like we did prior, right? But not only that, but, higher inflation is just definitely not going to, bring good bullish sentiment to the market, right? Because if inflation is ticking up, it's harder to justify interest rate cuts, right? Harder to justify interest rate cuts. All right, so let's jump back over to the viewers tab. Let me check the likes. Whoa, 115 likes. All right. Look at that. What, we're only, I'm going to get a ton of your stocks here. I'm going to get to a ton of them. All right, we'll cover these real quick. Let's just go into the graph of these. These are just little trade follow-ups just because I know these are stocks I've been talking about here. This is the pivot. This is the pivot, right? So if you took the trade, this is my target, about 821. You see we gapped up and actually finding rejection right around that target right now. So if you were solely playing the pivot, right, just make sure you stay disciplined because a lot of that trade is already done, right? It's already done. Now, if you're a longer term investor, focus on the value here. You already saw the analysts, they're targeting, $11 and stuff like that in the future, which I'm not going to necessarily disagree with that. But as of right now, intrinsically, we're around $4, right? So the closer you get to $4 with $6, probably that was the move. That was the move, right? But look at the rejection right at the 20, right at the 40. You can see my target here. So if you get any more follow through on this rejection, you just got to ask yourself if you were, was this a swing trade or was this more of an investment, right? Because if it was a swing trade, you went from what, $6, maybe $6.50 if you caught a little late, upwards to $8 in 2 sessions. So, don't be greedy. That was a good trade setup. That was a great trade setup. If you took it, just protect profits. Don't end up with a loss. Here's Data Vault. Again, this is one we talked about last week in the live stream. Someone was talking about $1.40. See, where was the open here? Because I was thinking $1.20. The open, okay, so it was just above $1.24. You see the bulls came in, but getting rejection right around the 40-day. My target was $1.73, solely just because of the technical level here. This prior pivot makes simple resistance in essence. So yeah, if you're seeing this red candlestick today, just stay disciplined. I don't know where you bought it on Friday. But I am looking for a little bit more rejection here, potentially. All right, here's Navitas. Navitas broke this trend line, gap down. This is the follow through I want to see. I'm not quite sold on Navitas yet because you see the trend line here, right? We broke it. We're just getting simply a retest from the bottom end, right? So we need to get back above this trend line for me to be more bullish on this position. Now this position is a volatile, right? I know I started doing the videos on it. It was like 10, 12 bucks. It rocketed to 18 and then started rolling over. They have a partnership with NVIDIA and their semiconductors, like I said, are much more efficient, right? So as long as that partnership with NVIDIA, if that pans out, the sky's the limit could be for this company, right? Because they are coming out with, totally different type of traditional semiconductor. Ryan, you may need to stay until 2:15 now. I bought Navitas this morning, Jazz says. Okay, if you bought it this morning, again, if you bought this dip before we got a primary wave up, before any kind of green light, you already know the trade was aggressive in general, right? Just make sure we don't, we end the day with a big upper wick here. Yeah, and it's a follow through tomorrow. Yeah, that's not what you want if you just bought this position this morning, Jazz, right? It's on my watch list too. It's on my watch. I need to save up more money for all these stocks. Last week helped though, right? Last week helped. Played with a little bit $300 and now I'm almost to $1,000. So we'll see what happens here. All right, but that was the trade setup. These three stocks here, I just want to, touch base back on these since I know a lot of individuals watching are looking at these positions. But Navitas, I'll be honest, as far as a trade, I wouldn't be surprised if we got rejection here, but this is definitely on my radar as far as a long-term position. It is more speculative. I'm not going to say it's not. It is more speculative. All right, let's get out of these. Let's jump in these earnings, and I'm going to try to get all your stocks. We're going to try to get all the stocks we can here. Was it 12:21? Oh, yeah, I'm on time. I'm not jibber-jabbering too much today. All right, let's see where the momentum is here. Here's the earnings. Tower Semi, 17% to the upside. I got Orla, Anglo Gold, Barracks. I don't know how a gold stock is going to report a bad earnings. I really just don't understand how, if your gold stock tanks on earnings after gold just soared, I don't know. There's got to be some really underlying problems there. But for the most part, I'm going to be optimistic and very bullish when it comes to gold earnings. Let's see here. Let's graph these. And for earnings, let's look at growth rate earnings, forecasted earnings per share. Let's look at sales too. And I'll keep on the value. Moving averages don't really bother me. All right. Growth rate earnings, it's rising. Well, actually went from negative, now flat, 0. Sales, 6%. The stock is soaring. It's a semiconductor company. You got to see exactly what they're doing. I'm not too familiar with this one, but the company went from $40 to 98. Sales growth rate here, 6%. May not be a bad stock to have on your radar. I don't know the story behind it. Maybe I should look more into this one. But there's definitely some follow through with this. Trading at session highs right now. The forecasted data I'm not too excited about, but that price momentum, there's something going on with this stock. And here's Orla. Look at that 200, that pivot off that 200. That might just be what Orla needed to get out of this channel finally. I love this trade, actually. Look at that. The stock just took a nice breather, waits for the 200 day to come off it, pivots it right at the bottom of the channel. I don't know if I'm a trader, if I'm interested in a gold stock, this has got my attention here. You see the transition, it was a sell, so you're not buying at a high by all means. Keep your eye on this one. I know they had the with the mine shaft issue, so you'll Google it before you just buy it, but see what's going on with this stock here. But I do like this pivot off the 200 just from a technical perspective here. Here's Anglo Gold. Price action, lower left, upper right, steady Eddie. Looks like momentum starting to pick back up in the gold stocks. Values rising. Why would you sleep on gold? Any dip in gold is a dip I can get behind, right? And I'll be honest with you, any dip in gold is a dip I can get behind. Bitcoin and Ethereum dips, let's be honest, they're a lot more aggressive in nature. But gold, I like it. Growth rate 36. Values rising. That's the other thing about these gold stocks. Be picky. If your gold stock is not undervalued with value rising, nice price action here, rising earnings per share, phenomenal forecasted data, find you one with those kind of characteristics, right? I would be very picky on my gold stocks. Here's Barrick's Gold Corp. Again, value rising, price rising, earnings rising, forecasted data. Pretty good numbers here. Double digits, not bad. Here's Internet Software. Ooh, look at this. Coming right at the 200-day moving average at earnings. Already seeing the pivot shaping up. I see the bottom wick. Trading at session highs here. The stock's overvalued. That would be my one concern. But other than that, look at value is rising. Earnings per share is rising. What's the forecasted data? 38%. Not a bad stock. It's got a sell recommendation. So if you're especially, and it's got earnings today. So, wait for the dust to settle. But if you really feel intrigued, just know that's a very aggressive trade to take that today. Very aggressive. Here's AMAT. Look, we had value opportunities here. We've talked about AMAT before. The stock, it's more so fairly valued now. Strong buy rating in place. Look at this. Earnings per share. It took a big dip here, but it's clawing its way back. What's the forecasted data? I don't know. For a larger semiconductor company, I think there's just better plays. I like the stock, but I think there's just better ones to choose. Here's CoreWeave. I'm not liking this. I think they got earnings today too. The only thing about CoreWeave, I'm gonna tell you right now, is that Microsoft deal. And I've said this, and I forget the exact number, but I know their most recent annual revenue was right around 100 billion. 100 million, not 100 billion. 100 million, short, just over. I think it was like 110, 115 if I remember correctly. This Microsoft deal, their revenue is about to go into the billions potentially. So it's 10xing, and you can see a lot of that premium baked into the price, right? Baked into that price. I don't know. I'd let the trade come back to you. I think you potentially get a better deal, but I would not be surprised to see that thing gap up. And if it gaps up, I'm looking around 131. I think it's going to gap right into this resistance. Well, it might stop short right at the 20 and 40 because it's right here. But don't sleep on that Microsoft deal. I know it's way overvalued, but if that deal comes to fruition, everything works out like Microsoft and CoreWeave are hoping, their revenue is about to catapult to astronomically. So we'll see what happens there. Li Auto, nothing looks good about this. EVs, it's hard to be bullish on EVs right now. Nothing good about this chart. Not liking it. Circle, still in my little channel here. Look at it, still in this. I created this line a while ago. Value's actually dropping. Just be careful with Circle because Circle, I did the video on it. I'm not an expert in it by any means, but essentially their stablecoin is backed by short-term treasuries, right? So if interest rates tick down or go lower, that's going to affect their bottom dollar. And you can see, look, interest rates is in our equation. Interest in inflation is in our value equation. You can see the value ticking lower. Price action lower as well. Me personally, I think it's overvalued. Here's Skydance Media. Look at this. Value just keeps roaring. Look at the price pressure. An opportunity looks like it might be presenting itself here in the near future. Look at the 200-day so close too. I'm waiting on the pivot off this 200-day. These two might get a little bit closer. Let's look at the forecasted data. 17, 1%. I don't know. That's a hard play here because that gap down from earnings. Because it's got earnings. I don't know. So close to that 200. We'll see what happens with it. But I do like the valuation. Here's Rocket Lab. Let's go to 1 year chart with Rocket Lab. Resistance broke above it. There it is. When it broke above this should have been your profit taking, especially when it broke this trend line. You got to sell. The other day, it's got earnings. Just be careful on this one. It's overvalued. I've actually got a watch list with robotic stocks. I want to see what the momentum of that watch list is. We'll take a look at that after this. I just want to get overall sense of momentum. Here's NBIS. Look at this. Trying to find that little. Yep, there it is. Trying to pivot off of it. I'm not sold on that pivot though. Because the last pivot fell short. And this one, I think it's going to get rejection right at that 20. If you're in NBIS, if I helped you get into that, just be careful if price action starts breaking below, because we could get back into this channel. We've seen this stock after stock after stock. Typically if price action gets back in the channel, it wants to retest it. Right now you're 112, that retest. I mean, if you give it some time, it might be up to 85, 90 on that trend line by then. We'll see what happens. But I'm not liking this rejection at the 20 right now. It's got earnings today, so we'll see. I know there's a lot of concerns about AI, valuations and stuff ever since the Michael Burry short report. Just keep that in the back of your head. Here's Oxy. Nope. Can't be bullish. And look at value. The last thing I want to do is get into an overvalued petroleum stock with price action on the decline, value on the decline, earnings on the decline. No. Definitely. Let's see about this one. On holdings, negatory. Way overvalued too. I'm going to let that come to me. Let's see, get that closer to valuation. It's a shoe company. I'm not going to pay a premium for a shoe company. ASTS, Space Mobile. Ooh, trying to catch the bottom of this. We'll see. Be careful of this one. I'm not too sold on some of these pivots here as of right now, because it pivoted at just at technical levels, but the first real level of resistance, I'm getting rejection on most of these. Here's another one. Looks like it wanted to pivot up here, probably right at the top of that. Yeah. Look at this as a zone here on Oklo. Here's Rigetti. We got Quantum. We got some Quantum here. TR is doing well. RR and Serve, not so much. Robotics. Yeah, we're going to take a look at those. I got them on a watch list here. But Rigetti, look at the value starting to tick up. Earnings per share is ticking up. Again, you got to get investors enthused. A lot of these Quantums, they're trading at such high premiums right now. And I get the technology. I get it. I'm not going to speculate it. All I'm going to say is price action broke to 20, broke to 40. This stock went from 10, 20 bucks. I mean, I think when Glenn was talking about it was under $10. Yeah, it would have been the last holidays. And went up to 80, or sorry, no, 60. Don't lose all those profits. I will say, if you got some patience, if Rigetti ever makes its way back down on this 200-day, or the pivot on that 200-day, that's a pivot I might just actually have to take a nibble on. Here is Monday.com. It reported this morning, see the gap down. The dip buyers coming in, overvalued, earnings per share, 428. Let's see here. What is this one here? Yep. I think they're just buying the dip off support. You have to do your homework on the earnings call, see if the dip makes sense. But the stock's still overvalued in the VectorVest metrics here. All right, let's jump over. I'm going to take your stock picks in just 1 second here. Robotics, drones. So these are the stocks here we've been talking about it. And it's not going to be tonight's video because I really want to dive into these a little bit more before just throwing them on your radar. And I know these are a little bit more trade. So if you are a trader, when we get some follow through, if the government opens up, who knows? You probably get some follow through on these come tomorrow. But let's just see here. There's 23 stocks here, all kinds of stocks in this list here. As far as momentum, mostly to the upside here. Redwire's down, Cognex is down. Well, we got Serve slightly up, Dragonfly, AVAV slightly to the upside here. A lot of good stocks, but this is what I'm going to look at. I'm going to look at the watch list average, get a sense of momentum here. Hey, that watch list average says the dip buyers are coming in on the 40-day. Look at that. Look at that pivot off that 40-day. Any kind of follow through? Probably going to be from the earnings we see this week, right? But yeah, I do like this. But look at this, the value, right? Look at the value. Investors are paying a premium for this technology, right? And I get it. Robotics, drones, I could see why. Growth rate is actually dropping in this list. But look at the earnings per share. Big tick up. And the sales growth rate for this list of stocks on average is 56%. That's phenomenal for sales growth rate. Phenomenal. But yeah, that's the drone. So yeah, it doesn't look too crazy as far as any kind of worries for the drone stocks here. But yeah, this week, I'm probably going to assume this week, look out for the video. We'll break down some of these drone stocks in that video here. All right, let's get to, you know what time it is? Your picks. All right, everybody, how many likes we get? I just want to say thank you, everyone. Look at that, 122 likes. That's a lot of likes. That's a lot of likes. If you're still here, go ahead and hit that like button. Otherwise, if you have hit the like button already, go ahead and put in your stock pick. Let's go ahead and break down some stocks today. We got 12:35. We got 25 minutes to break down some stocks. All right, GD, Snap, Fix. Oh, stocks are definitely coming in quick here. All right, I got to scroll back up. Oh, it's already in the list. Oh, let's see here. Ask. TST. Ask, I don't have that one. TER. MU, Micron. Dude, Micron is roaring it. Roaring right now. I like Micron all the way around. Investment, technicals, trading. I might have to try day trading Micron. I've never actually day traded Micron. I have to look at the option volume here. All right, where are we at? Micron. Oh, we got so many stocks. Where is it at? Oh, there it is. CEG. All right, don't put any more stocks quite yet because I got to catch up. I got a lot of stocks here. SoFi, BKV, Iron. I'm going to put in that whole CoreWeave category because Iron also got a I think it was Microsoft deal. But their earnings, if everything goes around with the deal, it's going to be similar. You're talking, going from millions of dollars to potentially now into the billions of dollars of revenue and earnings, right? So yeah, a lot of those two stocks are trading at a premium right now. So you guys just make sure the trade works. Let's see here. TER, ASX, Iron again, someone said. Let's see here. Scroll down. SPXC, SNDK, COHR. Terry says, what's my opinion on the silver market? I'm just putting in the gold thing. I think the momentum is there. What we're seeing is really just, let's see here. STR, BTM. Let's put in SLV and we'll see what the silver market is doing. I'm going to put it in the gold thing. I think any dip on it, it's probably going to work out in the long run. Is it going to be as exciting as, quantum or AI and things of that nature? Probably not, right? Let's see here. Adobe. Oh, BTM? That one's on my list. Bitcoin Depot. I like Bitcoin Depot. It's undervalued. I haven't bought it yet, but I do like it. Oh, no. Oh, let's see here. IRWD, and I like Netflix too. Maury, interesting. All right, get some more here. TINR. RBLX. I was trying to remember that one. All right, I got a rare earth play with you. WRB. Other stock I really like right now? I've talked about it a couple times. Western Digital. I knew we were talking about it, and then now it's made its way. I think in the Midas Touch list. Might be one of the top VST stocks too, but Western Digital. Let's see here. NVDO. There's always an NVIDIA fan. I don't blame you. I'm going to be bullish going into earnings. I think with NVIDIA, I think you're safer and probably better off playing the bull run going into earnings, potentially, and we'll see what happens over the next few days, rather than trying to guess what's going to happen after earnings, right? That's just my 2 cents. It's just my 2 cents. Let's see here. QCon. I see some people tripling up on their stock picks. I haven't been reading the names. And if you put more than one stock, I should start paying attention to the names. But if you put more than one stock, at least in the same comment, I'm only picking the first one. You know, if you put in 5 stocks in one comment, I'm just going to pick the first one. So make sure the first one is your favorite, because that's the one that's going in there. MP, SoFi we already did. Rig, did another one. Rig. All right, finally I'm catching up here. Yeah, Netflix doing the stock split 10-1. We've seen it before. Any of those, well, it's not a Mag 7, but it was a FANG stock. But anytime those guys got up to $1,000 or a little bit more, they like the split, right? What happens? They announce the split. The stock pumps up before the split. And we're seeing, I want to take a look at Netflix, but if I had to guess, it's probably, I think, I like the dip on Netflix. All right. November 17th. Okay. All right, here we go. Majority of these stocks are up today. While we're here, who's got a fish out there that they think is a really good bottom fishing opportunity? Who's got a really good fish out there? One that we don't talk about on the channel. Give me a good fish that we don't talk about. And Shay, we're going to take a look at that K and OP. I'm interested to see what that is. But let's, yeah. PTIR? Which one is that? Is that a leveraged Palantir? Yeah, no. That's your good fish, Bill. Double leverage Palantir. That's that fish you're talking about. That's the fish. Thomas says CDE. We'll take a look. All right, let's get to these stocks here. Well, we got 53 stocks. And we got 17 minutes. Joey is sweating right now. He's like, dang it, Ryan. We're going to be here all day. We're going to be here all day. You know what? I'll even add QAI. I don't think you meant to say QAI. I think you meant to say QSI. Or you did you? IQ Hedge. Interesting. Yeah, I want the fish. SGHC. Immersion. I know about immersion. All right, that's it. That's all we're taking. Oh, yeah, Tyler says, welcome back, Joey. And Joey did not bring me any barbecue. We're putting him in timeout today. I need to see how it is, Joey. But what was that really good thing you said you tried, Joey? The shrimp toast with caviar?
Yeah, that was really good.
That does sound good. But barbecue festival, Charleston, South Carolina. Joey just got back from there. He said definitely attend in the future if you get a chance. All right. This is the first thing I'm going to do is let's see where the low value gems are. That's why BTM's on my radar in the first place, because of the valuation here. But we got Core Mining, Immersion Corp, Adobe, one of the most undervalued stocks on the list. Don't sleep on that. We got gold, FinTech. Up FinTech, really? Valued at 15? I mean, anything that's like FinTech, AI, quantum, anything exciting like that, if you see it undervalued, rare earth, if it's undervalued, don't sleep on it. See, we got Not Offshore Partners. I'm not sure what that is, but it's undervalued. That's one of the fish that someone sent in here. Who was that sent me that one? Thomas sent me CDE. Shay, that's right. SGHC. I did put that one in here, didn't I? Oh, I did forget that one. All right. Sorry about that. All right. But as far as value, Twilio on up. That's where you're getting the value. Supergroup, Iron. Ooh, pharmaceutical undervalued. Berkeley, Micron still undervalued. But we value that thing at 343, and value just keeps roaring. If you're holding on Micron, that's awesome. You know, let your winners win. Let your winners win. For this stock, I'm gonna let that one grow. I see big things. What is the market cap for Micron? $250 million. It's surpassed Qualcomm now. And what are the biggest companies in this list? Curious. Microsoft, Micron, number 4, right behind Palantir and Netflix. It's a monster of a stock here. I would not be surprised to see Micron with $1 trillion market cap a couple years from now. I'm just gonna tell you right now. I'm not gonna be surprised by that. 5-6 years from now, Micron's got $1 trillion market cap. Maybe even sooner. Who knows? Who knows? But I see big things with Micron, especially with that plant. They got big ambitions. That plant in New York. All right, let's get into the charts here. 53 stocks. I'm gonna let you know right now if I like it or not. I don't like that Microsoft move. I'm going to tell you exactly why I don't like this Microsoft move. Let's go 3 months here. Yeah, the pressure's on right at the 8-day, right? You see how the pressure's on at the 8-day in a bull run, right? In a bullish move. Pressure's on that 8-day right here in a bearish move. So with the upper wick. I'm going to be bearish on Microsoft in the short term, at least. Honestly, I will say, though, if with a little bit of luck, maybe some patience, if Microsoft comes back here to this 200-day in my zone, this is going to be around 462. I'm going to tell you right now, you might as well just go to your broker, put an alert on Microsoft, say at 470, so you got a little bit of a heads up. If that alert ever hits in the near future, I'd be looking for the pivot off of it. I'd be looking for that pivot off. That would be a make sense pivot. Don't overthink it. Here's Netflix. 200-day, broke it. That gap fill, I'm not seeing it. I want to see it get back above the 200, but I'm just not there for Netflix right now. It was in this channel. Gap down, even with the split. Just really can't get investors enthused. Stock's overvalued right now. That's where my one caveat is. I'd let the trade come to you. I'm not rushing into Netflix right now. Palantir. Once again, look, you see this ascending a channel here. It was on the bottom, broke at the channel here. That was the most serious break we've seen. We've seen little wicks here, but it came right back up. Buy recommendation here. We got a gap fill, and we're right at the gap fill right now. Looks like we might be entering that gap fill possibly by this afternoon. But Palantir, if Friday, if you didn't do anything to it, want to mess with it now, right? It's back in the ascending channel. Not too surprised by that, but I just wanted to put that on your radar in case you're holding Palantir, because otherwise we could have felt some pressure there. As long as it's not ascending channel, hey, ride it out. Here's Micron. That is beautiful. Look at that. That thing is just rocking and rolling. This was the last pivot I told you guys about in this little pullback here from this prior swing high. This was around 215. I think I even did this on the videos saying look around 215 to 220. Anyways, pivoted off of it. Full body candlestick high. Phenomenal stock. If you're holding it, just pat yourself on the back, because I think this thing's left the station. I don't see it stopping anytime soon. All right, here's Qualcomm. Not feeling it. Not feeling it. I'm telling you this. No, the resistance held strong at this 182. This is why I was trying to get above, to see if there's any, gas left in the tank. No gas left in the tank here at this one. Here's Intel. Hey, if you're an Intel, you're an Intel for all the wrong reasons. Let's be honest here. The only reason why Intel's gone up recently is everything but Intel, whether it's, AMD partnership and NVIDIA, the government, whatever. But yeah, no. As long as it stays above this 40, hey, I'm going to be more of a bull. But right now, my level is around $36. If it breaks 36, I'd get a little bit more defensive on it. Here's Adobe. Everything I don't like. Look, value declining, price declining. This is why I say when you're bottom fishing stocks and you're thinking you're a good deal like Adobe, you might have thought you've been a good deal here. I really want to see the value start to turn around. Yeah, price action is going to do what price action going to do, right? But the value needs to start turning around for me to really justify bottom fishing, right? Because if the value is just going to keep declining, well, when's it going to stop declining, right? So that's kind of my theory or thought behind that. Alex says, don't be a bag holder on Intel. Yeah, especially if you're up like, if you bought it around $20, was it 38 right now? I mean, what do you think Intel's about to do over the next few years? I don't know. What do you? I mean, please put it in the comments section. What makes you think Intel? Maybe another partner. Yeah, if they got a Chat GPT partnership, I could see that. Pushing the stock higher. But what is Intel gonna do to make Intel stock more attractive? Right. That's the question. If you know the answer, please put it in the comment section. I'd love to hear your perspective on some of these things. Here is Constellation Energy. You see my level support here. Tested it. Nice pivot. Came back. Round 2 on the test. That 20-day, that big upper wick, though, we might come right back in here. If you're in Constellation Energy, especially if we break this on the bottom end, you're looking around 336. Definitely be careful if we break that. But you can see it's trying to get its act together. But we got a lower low. We got a lower high. So the trend is to the downside right now. Stock's overvalued. Growth rate's dropping. Not too sold on it. Here's Hood. Hood coming right back. See the trend line here? Buyers came right in, pushed it back in. Indecision. Look at the valuation start to tick up too. Where's the value at? 46 to 48. The value went from $30 to 48. So the value's up just over 50% in 5 months, right? That's good. But I would not be surprised to see Hood take a little breather and maybe let some of its financial metrics just catch up to the stock, right? So again, that's kind of my opinion on Hood. Still love the stock, and I'm not going to say it can't keep going up, but a breather would be appropriate. Here's General Dynamics. Look, you had the value opportunity. You see I had a little channel here, some consolidation, pretty range bound, broke up to the upside. The upside doesn't look like it's moving very much, or at least waning very much, I should say. Let's see RT here. Let's look at RT relative timing. Still in positive territory. So yeah, as long as that RT remains positive, above 1, I'm not going to be too worried about it because you see it's kept us in this trade the entire time. And it's not like RT's, that overextended either, right? RT right now is at 1.09. So not bad. Here's Roblox. A little short of the 200. I'd be defensive. The stock's overvalued. Let's go to 1-year chart here. I'm just curious where this is going to be. No, that's probably too low. That'd be an extreme sell-off. I don't know. You just want the price stay above the 200. But as far as, valuation, things like that, growth rate earnings is negative. EPS kind of wobbly, actually declining over the last few months. Fundamentally, I'm not there. Technicals, that's what you got to keep on. And I just want price action stay above the 200. See if we're short of it now. It might retest it. I would not be surprised if price action retests this 200. You can see last time, great pivot, great opportunity, right? So we're just above it right now. So I don't think the damage is done quite yet. Here's Mari. Look at the value. It went from 140 now to 240. Price rising, values rising. We got some buy ratings coming into place here. Rising earnings per share. I actually like this stock quite a bit. CLS. You can see I had a little line here. What was that? 298. Looks like the bottom wick came right in. I do like this. The valuation also ticking up quite a bit here recently, going from about 200, just shy of 250 in just a few trading sessions. Earnings per share, nice tick up as well. That's a phenomenal stock, CLS. Here's SanDisk Corp. 260. This thing. Whew. I forget what's... There's a reason why SanDisk is moving so much. Anybody know exactly why? I forget exactly what it was. My kids love Roblox. My middle son is playing Roblox on Xbox. Yeah, I know kids love that Roblox. Trust me. What about DHI? I have a short in case the market continues down. Hey, Burek, that is not a bad idea to have a little insurance in case. Because what happens? Say, they're supposed to get the 8 senators. politics, who knows? But what if the government doesn't open up tomorrow morning? What if the market, what if we're sitting here, well, we don't have a live stream, but say we're trading tomorrow, the market's not open, right? All those hopes and dreams from that gap up, is pretty much getting eradicated. And the deal only kicked the can down to January. I don't know if you guys, read much into it, but from what I read, essentially it's just kicking the can down till January on this deal. But we'll see. But SanDisk, still trading at session highs. At this point, this is the kind of stock that I've told you before. Hey, you bought it here. It was undervalued. It was $50 right around, right? Well, the stock just went parabolic, right? It went 50 to 250. So if you bought this as an investor, right? Undervalued, great forecasted earnings, rising earnings per share. This is the type of stock VectorVest, puts on your radar, right? Parabolic move, instead of waiting a couple years for the stock to go from $50 to, was it 265 now? It did it in a couple months. Don't be afraid. Take some profits off the table, right? And this is what I was getting to. If you find yourself as an investor that ended up in a high momentum stock, something like this, you're not necessarily sure how to, maybe manage the trade. We do have videos on Star Search. You can just go to VectorVest, type in VectorVest Star Search. But this layout here, not add parameter, sorry. Star Search. See, it's in this fast lane here. If price action breaks below this standard deviation, this yellow line, essentially that's just showing weakness. We saw some weakness here, saw a little bit of weakness here, right? But if you get a clear break in this, taking some off the table, not a bad idea, right? You can leave some on, especially if it's house money. I like playing with house money too. But again, just want to put that on your radar. If you went from investing into a stock and saw from 50 to 250 in just a few months, protect those profits. Star Search can help you protect profits and parabolic moves. SanDisk earnings. I've made money on SanDisk up over 100%. Took profits, letting rest ride. See, Alex, that's the kind of same thing. If you're going to leave it all in SanDisk, who knows what's going to happen, right? But again, especially, if you're thinking, hey, I'm going to buy this stock, maybe if it doubles or triples in the next year or two, I'll sell it. It's usually how a long-term investor thinks, right? Well, I did it in a couple months. So, just pat yourself on the back if that was you, take some profits, take the family on a nice vacation this holiday. Probably want to wait on flying though. All right, here's SoFi. Here's this trend line. With SoFi getting back above this trend line, I am going to be more optimistic for the bulls right now. But yeah, this looks good. And you can see parabolic move from this to this here. Let's switch back over here. Let's see the value. The value's ticking up too, starting to pick up pace. This is my problem with SoFi in the beginning. Just the value was doing nothing. But now we're starting to see some justification here. Growth rate and earnings, 40, 28% on the sales. Not too shabby. All right, here's Fix. As long as it stays above 950, I'm not going to be too concerned because if it breaks that, we got a big gap to fill. But I like the value. Value's rocking with it. I like it. Here's ASX, ASE Technologies, $15. See, it's very gappy, but look at the value. Price action's rising, value's rising. If you're okay with the gappiness, ASE Technology, this is definitely probably a foreign company if I had to guess because of the gappiness. Just do your research on it, but as far as the data here, 10%, 14%, not bad. Not bad at all. Here's BE, Bloom Energy. Hey, as long as it stays above that 20, I'm going to tell you right now, looks like the 20 is the buy time, right? So right now I'm going to say it's a little overextended. But yeah, those are nice pivots off that 20. Next time it hits that 20, you might want to consider that. See what happens. All right, PTSG. Gapped up. If it breaks this 40, get defensive. Get defensive. Because this stock went from $60 all the way up to 100. Big gap up. You see the value. You see the 200. The technicals, the fundamentals. Trying to keep up. Trying to catch up. But it probably needs a breather. Probably needs a breather. We'll see. Here's Credo. Nice price action, strong buy rating in the works here. Nice pivot off of this 40. Look at the forecasted data. Phenomenal forecasted data. And it's rising. 46% sales, 274. Someone was talking about a fish. This is a good fish here. And the value is rising. I like this stock. Here's TER. I've talked about this before. The divergence between price and value does have me concerned, but I do like, look at the value starting to tick back up. So that concern might be waning a little bit right now. As far as forecasted data, it's a little bit everywhere. See, the 20-day went right to my line, the 163. I do like that. If we come back down and retest that 20, I want to see price action stay above the 20 here. This looks good overall. Just the valuation's got me concerned right now. You got to see what the stock's doing. Here's Berkeley Corp. Lower left, upper right. Not a very exciting stock, but looks like a nice steady Eddie stock to have in your portfolio. Undervalued. Value's also rising here. Forecasted data, 11% on both sides. Not too bad. Here's COHR. Look at the value starting to tick up as well. Gap up, full body. I like this one. Electronic company, forecasted data. Good numbers too. TR is heavily involved in DARPA programs for automated systems. Okay. Pennywise, that makes sense. ASX, Taiwanese, that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense why it's gapping us like there with the time change and everything. I could see it being a Taiwanese semiconductor. Google it, but I could definitely see that being the case. Let's see here. TER, it does what? Oh, DARPA, automated systems. That's why it's trading out a premium there. Tech, okay. Here's silver. That's what I'm saying. Any dip in silver, I look at that 40 dip. Perfect. And again, the confirmation back above it. We got a big gap to fill here. Gold, silver. I'm still going to be bullish on them. Still going to be bullish on gold and silver. Twilio. Look at this gap up here. Interesting. Undervalued too. Is a software company that's undervalued? Let's go out to a 5-year chart. Way overvalued. Look at the value, right? They always like to come back down here. That's why I don't get too excited on some of these IPOs, especially if they're trading way overvalued or some of these tech companies. Look at this. Came right back to the valuation. But now value and price are rising. Growth rate 29%, sales 15%. Not a bad stock to consider. Not a bad stock at all. I like it. Here is Light. Lumentum Holdings. We've talked about this one before. This is that thing is rocking and rolling. Value's rocking. Forecasted data 58, 36% on the earnings side. Yeah, I like it. And it's up today. No concern there. Iron, look at this. Well, you know me in a trend line. What do you think's happened here? I'm not convinced of this pivot for those people holding iron here. I would like to have seen price action higher than yesterday's open. It looks like we pivoted it, filled the gap here with this wick, and went right back down. Be careful with iron. If we see too much weakness on this trend line, be careful. I like the value starting to move a little bit. That's a speculative play here. Here's AVAV. Where's this line? Interesting. I kind of like that pivot on AVAV. We'll see what happens on this 40. But we still got the buy rating here. It's just overvalued. That's the problem with a lot of those drone stocks. Just a lot of valuation concerns there. SOXL. This is the bullish semiconductor, triple leverage, lower left, upper right. That's how semis are moving. Buy rating in place. So this is telling me right now over on the semis, looks like people are just buying the dip at the 40, right? People are buying that dip at the 40. And with price action above this little line ad here, around 43, I do like that. So I'm feeling optimistic on the semis. I'm not surprised by that. I mean, yeah, buying the dip as semis on the 40-day moving average the week before NVIDIA's earnings call, I can see why a lot of people did that. I see why a lot of people did that, right? All right, here's Snap. Rejection, pretty much rejection shortly after. I got to get some follow through here on Snap. If you're in it, you might just get a parabolic move here soon. And that's probably what you've been waiting for, especially if you're bag holding this. Let's go to 1 year. I just can't get behind it. I'm not going to be bullish on this. I'd have to see some conviction. I have to see some follow through above that 20-day. Sales is falling. Growth rate's falling. Overvalued. Here's QXO. Look at this 200. What is going on with this stocks here? Whew. A little bit of a pivot there. Let's go 3 months. Right on the 200 day. This might, and was undervalued. You can see the buyers coming in. They got a value. And we'll see. Might be a little early on this one. We got sales here. This is aggressive. I like the forecasted data. It's rising. The value. Fundamentally, it's there. Technically, aggressively, that was an aggressive dip bottom. I'd like to see a little bit more follow through before jumping in this. But this could actually go on a nice little run. Sterling, ascending channel still in it. Not concerned there too much. If it breaks that ascending channel by much, yes, get a little defensive. But look at the value. Also ticking up recently. Like that. Here's MP. Palantir just hit 192. Palantir wants to return to 200. NVIDIA earnings, November 19th. Yes. It's Tabula. What'd you say, Tabula? Yeah. Oh, the session? Well, thank you. Thank you, Tabula. But MP, it did exactly what UAMY did on the last pivot. Not this pivot, on the last pivot. It jumped right before, from a technical perspective. The bulls came and said, no, you know what? I don't want to miss out. I'm going to jump in right now. And everyone jumped in, right? See if we get follow through here. Right? If you didn't jump in here, well, I'd rather give up $2 and make sure I got follow through rather than a bull trap, right? Rather than a bull trap. Because right now, I am seeing bull trap scenarios on certain stocks. Just going through these, right? This could easily turn into a bull trap here. And then actually come back down and retest this, right? Being rare earth, we'll see. I actually saw some news about rare earths, so I should probably check on that news. Those are very news-driven stocks. All right, here's SPXC. Values rising, prices rising, full body today. I like it. Look at this. This is nice. Sales growth rate ticking up like crazy. It went from 5 to 23. Growth rate's falling. Look at that RT picking up as well. This is nice. It's more expensive stock. Diversified companies. I will say, if you do see it roll over, maybe look for a pivot back here around 209. You know, if it did roll over in the future, I could see it wanting to retest that. Here's Lumen. Little overextended from the 20. You see it just kind of taking a breather, moving to the side really over the last few sessions. Not far from where it was back here. I think it's just letting that 20-day catch up a little bit, in my personal opinion. But as far as VectorVest is overvalued, this is a very speculative play, right? So if you're prudent, if you're conservative, please don't get stuck holding any bag here in case this thing rolls over. This is a very speculative play. Look at this little gold mining company here. Sell off, it's trying to pivot. There's a lot of gold stocks out there that are doing what I want it to do. I don't want to be bottom fish. I don't want to be guessing on gold. Gold should be easy, and that's supposed to be, you know, your worry-free investing, right? This doesn't look too worry-free as far as gold investing right now. Let's see the forecast. 77%. Let's see here. Just curious. No. See what the pressure's on with this stock. I had to do a little more research. I'm not too sold on that one as far as a gold stock. Here is Supergroup. Consolidation. Oh, finally breaking back above 12.16. Right now, 12.34. This could be a potential momentum move in the making here. To really get some confirmation, I'm going to go off the high. This right here, 12.49. If we can get about 10 cents above that, so about 12. Was that 12.59? It's only 12.34 right now. It's the confirmation I'm looking for. This could be an undervalued momentum play shaping up. I see the consolidation. I see the pivot here. But otherwise, if we don't get that confirmation, we could get rejection soon, because I see my 200-day moving right into the support here. And if I'm a trader, I want price to go there. I want price to go there. All right, here's NVDL. This is the double leverage NVIDIA back above the 20-day EMA. A little wobbly, but again, going into NVIDIA's earnings, interesting. This SPXE is interesting. I did like that. It is interesting, right? Where was that one? A little bit too far back. Oh, yeah, this one here. Yeah, this one I do like. This one is interesting. All right. CDE, what time is it? 109. Look at that. We're almost there. We're almost there. NVIDIA, I'm telling you right now, it's going to be safer playing the bullish move going into earnings rather than guessing it after earnings. That's what I'm gonna say. But it's Nvidia. You know, if we valued Nvidia, say at like $60, and Nvidia's trading where it's at right now, then I'd be concerned. I'd be concerned about the whole AI bubble and everything. But Nvidia is not that overvalued from the VectorVest software. Actually, let's see where it's at right now. And we know from the VectorVest valuation, that's not going off hopes and dreams of AI, right? It's actually undervalued. See, value's still ticking up. So I'm not going to be that concerned about a bubble. I don't know what Michael Burry sees that, you know, Dr. Alito's not seeing. But as far as valuation, I'm not there. I'm not that concerned. So I'm going to be bullish on NVIDIA. Here's RIG, Transocean. Again, it's hard to be bullish on petroleum, but hey, here's that one petroleum stock we looked at was ugly, but this one, value's rising, price is rising. But look at the forecasted data. Not fantastic. No, I can't get there. Here's Webull. No, Webull had high expectations, and I used them. But look, the valuation's dropping, price is dropping. I actually just took out a new low. I'm not there. I'd wait for the trade to come to you. And honestly, maybe see what the short interest is on that. Maybe that could become a meme stock. That's probably your best case scenario for the bulls on Webull. All right. Here's UU. I'm going to say it's probably touched this or really close to it. And it did. I actually kind of like that pivot. We'll see. Not a little bit of a doji right now. But as far as rare earths, as far as this one, if it breaks 1342, I would be getting more concerned. This was my first level of concern right here is around 1891, which clear broke. So if you're still in this position, again, stick to your stops. But at this point now, I'm looking at around 1342. That's where we need to stay above. Here's FLNC, Fluence Energy, Clean Energy, way overvalued. I'm going to tell you right now, just use Star Search on this. Why overthink it? There's Star Search. Back in the fast lane. That big upper wick, I'm not really here for it. You got to see what they do. But it's way overvalued, and forecasted data doesn't have me feeling too enthused. Here's another gold company. This one's moving up right now. Nice pivot here around off this $24 level. Values rising, strong buy rating, forecasted data, 27 in both categories. I like it. Here's BKV. Look at this valuation ticking way up here. We value the company at 37, only trading at 26 right now. We got consolidation right below the 200-day both times with pivots to the upside. I like what I see when it comes to this. RT in favorable territory. Trend is in favor of the bulls. Here's Tiger. You can see it broke. I had a little trend line here forming. So this is when we identified the trend, right? Or the channel. So if you took the trade here, right? If you took this trade here on the bottom one, this big wick should have shut you out on a disciplined investor, right? And then you're going to come back in and retest it. And if you had the, if you really wanted to try to, end out on a, either this one would have been the retest, right? But after that, no. I see lower lows. And if we take out this low here, well, the pivot on the 200 is nice. All right, if you're in it, I'm going to put my stop right here around 993. So if it breaks much below 993, we'll just call it $10. If it drops back low $10, I'd be a little bit more on the defensive side of things. But I do like that valuation, though. What is this? It's a fintech company, too. Undervalued. I'm actually going to write this one down. But I've told you, any company that's, fintech, AI, something's exciting like that, if it's undervalued and values rising, that's not something to sleep on. All right, here's eHang Holdings. Done a whole lot of nothing. For years, done nothing. So I'm going to say no. It's overvalued too. Growth rate, no. This is not going to excite me at all. I want my money to grow, or at least knock me out of my stop to get me out of that position so I don't waste my time. That was doing nothing. I had one little bump there. That was it. QAI, IQ Hedge, ETFs, interesting. I'm not sure what that's tracking. Do your research on that. But look at price action here. Finding support, finding buyers right at that 40-day. Bulls are in control. I do like that. Here's Palantir, 2 times leverage. We talked about this Friday, and look at this. Pivoted right off that sucker. Yeah. Keep playing that Palantir channel. And if you're a trader, either I'm going to play the ping pong with the options on Palantir, or I'm probably just day trade. If I'm not going to do options, probably just do this double leverage PLTR here. PTIR. Interesting. So yeah, so then, Palantir, what would be my target? Closer to the top of the channel, right? That would be my target. Stay defensive. Here is Gemini Space Station. Crypto company. Overvalued. Look at it. This stock came out at $40. We valued at 201. Now it's at 16 and it's just making its way there. It's way overvalued. I want some more data points before jumping into this crypto thing here. Especially, I don't know what they do. There's so many different things you can do with crypto. I don't know what they do, but that momentum is clearly to the downside. Palantir yield staying around the $60 here. And I know that pays quite a big dividend. So it might not actually, if you want Palantir as, a long-term position, don't have to do all the work with covered calls and all that stuff, this might not be a bad ETF to get into, this yield max here. But just be careful and do your homework with yield maxes. Do your homework with those yield maxes. I like this one. I mean, a pharmaceutical company that's undervalued. Look at values rising, prices rising. Even with the jump up, you're still getting value here. Not even that expensive. $286. I'll put this on my radar too. IRWD. I do like this momentum here. Look at that. Broke the 200. Little retest on it. Got me a little anchor there. Nice pivot to the upside. And look at this RT. That little devil. Got us in this trade. Giving us a warning sign here. Like, hey, bulls might be coming in. But really here, you're talking around probably 70, 80 cents RT putting the stock in our direction, letting us know the bull is starting to take note here. But I like this. Value rising, prices rising, undervalued, forecasted data. The sales growth rate is the only one here that's going to be worrisome. It's negative 45. KNOP, put this one on. I'm writing this one down. They do shipping too, so that could be important. Undervalued, price momentum. Let's see the forecasted data. 32%. I like that one. Korea 3 times bull. I'd use a 3 and 8 or something on here. But this is a very specified ETF. And yeah, if you want exposure to foreign entities, because we've seen that hot, picking up momentum with the tariff and everything. I like this. Korea, that's going to be a very pivotal trading partner for us too. I like this momentum to the upside. I like it. No, I'm not here for it. The value is still declining. Still finding lower lows. It just had a new low here recently. Right around the same time the stock hit a new low. I see it broke its trend, its long-term trend line, but I'm not there for it. I have to see that value start ticking up to really get excited. Here is Bitcoin Depot. This is one that I was looking at because value was rising, price was dropping, right? I was looking more for a pivot. I never pulled the trigger on this one. You see the break in the 200, you see the break in my support, but look at the value on the decline. Price is declining now. So again, this could be one of those stocks where I say, hey, if I want to really get a deal here, I want to see this value tick up some, maybe take out this prior swing high here. But otherwise, forecasted data is not bad. That was back here. Where's it at now? 29%, sales 6%. Not bad at all. But just a little too much pressure, bearish pressure for me to jump in right now. Woo! I think that was it. We hit a record here. All right. Let's see if we hit a record on the likes. 141 likes. Woo! There we go, everybody. All right. I got to get out of here. I'm hungry. I know Joey's hungry. And on top of that, I got to make tonight's 6 p.m. video. So if you got some good ideas, put it in the comment section. But I'm gonna see what's out there. See what's out there. But again, just to recap, the 2 important things from today's session, real quick. Qs. Oh, look, we are back. We are getting back up there. Nice. All right, so we did get the rejection, but the real follow through is around 622.16 because that was the rejection level I was looking at today. Made a couple bucks off of. It's really gonna be. We all know if the government opens up, yeah, we'll probably gap up, right? We'll see what happens. I'm not going to speculate, but the confirmation I really wanted to see from this pivot, not quite there yet. And then as far as the VVC, we are in this zone as well. Was support, so now it's a resistance zone. So not getting quite the conviction I'd like to see, especially if you're more prudent or more conservative. Now, if you're speculative or aggressive trader, just make sure you stay disciplined right now. All right, on that note, everybody, enjoy the rest of your Monday. To all those veterans, to all those that serve, I just want to say a special thank you to you as well. Happy Veterans Day. Come tomorrow. And just a reminder, the markets will be open. Just the bond market will be closed. Take care, everybody.